Hello, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the border today and what's going on there. And then I have this amazing video, not sure if you've seen it, of Ron DeSantis yesterday just being based. Completely based. I loved every second of it. And most of the reason I loved it is because I was really diving into the border and what's going on. And one of my big frustrations, of many, by the way, is that now we're talking about having these vaccine passports and restricting travel and all of these. Yet we're hearing more and more stories of people crossing over the border illegally that are testing positive and just being released into the interior of the U.S. So we're going to look all into that. I'll show you that video of Ron DeSantis, and I actually spoke with several people who, I can't tell you who they are or what they do, but I spoke on the phone with several people that actually work on the border, and they told me a little bit about their observations and what they've been going through. So I'll let you know some of that after all of this. Obviously, I can't confirm that what they're saying is true because they're just telling me, but I did confirm that they do, in fact, work on the border. So that'll be really interesting to talk about. But first, the odd thing is, well, we know as soon as Biden took office, we started seeing this surge at the border because of three things that he did. Well, one, because of what he was running on. He was basically running on a more lax border security. Secondly, he did three things as soon as he took office. He reversed the Remain in Mexico policy, which Trump put in place, back in order catch and release, and he stopped construction of the border wall, even though everything was already paid for. The crew was hired. I believe the supplies are still sitting there, as far as I know, but that is what happened, and that caused an unprecedented surge in illegal immigrants coming over the border. And before we have these conversations, I always have to preface by saying I am 100% for legal immigration. Most of my friends in Los Angeles are immigrants. Most of my friends growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, were immigrants. So I am all for legal immigration. It's illegal immigration that I am against, and I'll tell you why a little bit now. And the odd thing is that Democrats, even Joe Biden, used to be very against illegal immigration, but the stance has since changed. And in the fiscal year 2021 alone, we have already seen around 1 million people illegally cross our border, and they're not just from Mexico. I think we have confirmed they're from over 100 different countries coming into our border. But before we get started on what's happening right now, I'm going to take you back in history a little bit because the Democrats have completely changed their stance on border security. So first, we'll start with the Democratic governor, Jerry Brown, who was the governor of California in 1975. There was a lot of refugees coming in from Vietnam because of the fall of Saigon, I believe, in 1975, and he actually put a cap on people coming in, and he said this. He said, "There is something a little strange about saying, let's bring in 500,000 more people when we can't take care of the 1 million people in California that are out of work." Joe Biden at the time agreed and introduced legislation to curb the amount of Vietnamese refugees coming in. So that's a huge change from where he is right now, basically having our border completely open. Bill Clinton at his State of the Union in 1995 said this: "Americans are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our countries. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public services they use impose burdens on our taxpayers." And he got a standing ovation on this. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer all voted for a border fence back in the day. So what has since changed? You fill in the blank there. I'm not going to say it on this channel, but it has changed quite a bit since then. So now I'm going to give you a few updates on what is happening on the border right now, show you some Ron DeSantis, and then we'll talk. So this is Bill Melugin. He used to work for Fox LA. Now he works for Fox National. Is that what you call it? Fox National? He works for the big Fox. But he has basically been on the border, I believe, for several months now. That's his main assignment. And this was an update he gave yesterday. New, the city of McAllen, Texas says the federal government has relieved has released 7,000 COVID positive migrants into their city since February, including over 1,500 new infected migrants in just the last week alone. A local state disaster in McAllen has been declared. On Monday, he says, we watched Border Patrol drop off busloads of migrants in downtown McAllen all day long, every 30 minutes, hundreds released in front of us. And he is updating a prior story that he had 2 days prior, saying, new all morning long, we've watched Border Patrol drop off multiple busloads of migrants at a Catholic charity in downtown McAllen, where they are given food and shelter before they take buses and flights across the U.S., buses arriving every 30 minutes. Chuck Costello, breaking report, Biden admin plans to require foreigners visiting the U.S. to be vaccinated. This while an alarming number of illegals released into the U.S. are not yet tested. So an update in the New York Times that came out yesterday did say that the Biden administration was going to start offering the J&J vaccination shot to people coming over the border illegally. But you can clearly see the hypocrisy in all of this. And so that leads us to Ron DeSantis, because now that we've been having talks of a new surge of different variants of the virus, Jen Psaki, our press secretary, and the Biden administration had been calling out states like Florida and Texas for having new surges in their numbers, especially targeting Ron DeSantis. Well, I guess he wasn't too happy about this, and he had something to say. So I'm going to show you a few clips of his presser speech that he gave last night. Here it is.
I just want to say something quickly. Joe Biden has taken to himself to try to single out Florida over COVID. This is a guy who ran for president saying he was going to, quote, shut down the virus. And what has he done? He's imported more virus from around the world by having a wide open southern border. You have hundreds of thousands of people pouring across every month. And it's not just from Mexico. In fact, it's rarely from Mexico. You have over 100 different countries where people are pouring through. Not only are they letting them through, they're then farming them out all across our communities across this country, putting them on planes, putting them on buses. Do you think they're being worried about COVID for that? Of course not. So he's facilitating. Who knows what new variants are out there, but I can tell you whatever variants are around the world, they're coming across that southern border. And so he's not shutting down the virus, he's helping to facilitate it in our country.
I could watch that several times. Don't you? Don't you just love him? So something else that happened yesterday, and the irony of this, and this is very sad, this has already happened several times this year, situations very similar to this. But this literally happened right after. So we got an order back. A judge sided with the Biden administration and blocks Texas state troopers from stopping vehicles possibly carrying migrants. So they will stuff tons of people in a vehicle and try to transport migrants at various places. And this is so dangerous because when you're overcrowding cars and you get into an accident, stuff like this happens. This was also reported yesterday by Bill Malusian. In my wording on this, he had to update to change the numbers. But he said, breaking, DPS tells me, so 10 people confirmed dead, and the number of people in the vehicle were 30. And this was after a van carrying illegal immigrants veered off the road and crashed into a utility pole on US 281 in Encino, Brooks County. Driver is deceased, and there was no pursuit. Every month, there are hundreds of thousands of people pouring over the border, and it seems like it's getting worse and worse every single month. Now I'll get to the conversations that I had recently and what people were telling me, and some of this I kind of already knew. I follow Bill and a few other people that report on the border pretty closely, so some of this I've actually seen videos of, but one person told me what they do. They're pretty tactical, the cartel, and what they will do is they'll have big groups of family units cross the border to basically distract the Border Patrol agents. And sometimes you only have one agent assigned to a big area. They are terribly understaffed. So you'll have this large group of family units come in to distract those agents. And while they're busy processing these people and dealing with that group, yards down, you'll have a group of getaways or runners just run through. And typically these are people that have already been deported, or people that have criminal charges, or, you know, just people that have done really bad things, not people you typically want in our country. So they'll distract them by the family units, and then these people will run across clean, undistracted. Now let's talk about Title 42 as well, because this almost seemed like a good thing. They have extended Title 42, which means because we're in this health emergency right now, you can go ahead and, you know, deport people right back to Mexico or wherever they came from. But what I was told is that even with Title 42, they will send the person back over the border, and the person is basically saying, see you tomorrow, and they just come right back the next day. And they'll do this every single day until they get that one time where they get through without being caught. So yes, you have it. Yes, people are being put back, but they're just coming right back the next day. It's also told that a lot of people are paying coyotes thousands of dollars more money. So these people that were working on the border were telling me these people are paying more money than I have in my bank account to come over the border illegally. I was also given a story of a 13-year-old girl who was found crossing the border who had Plan B with her, and the reason she had that is because on the journey, on the trek, she expected bad things to happen to her. And those are just a few of the many, many stories about what is happening on the border. Again, why this is happening, I can't really tell you. You can fill in the blanks. I have my own ideas, but it's not good for anyone. It's not good for the people coming across the border. It's not good for our health crisis that we are in right now, or that we're being told we're in right now. It's not good for the citizens. So who is this benefiting, I guess, is the question. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys right now. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. Keep it cool in the comments, because sometimes I worry about talking about this stuff too much. Just don't want to be taken off the YouTube. I want to stay here and be able to talk with you guys and all of that stuff. But thank you very much again for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.